They say the most powerful magic isn't found in a dusty tome or a hidden cave. It's found in the corners of our daily lives, the way we set our intentions and build a life that feels as sacred as it does successful. Welcome to the Coven's Corner. We're here to bring you grounded, accessible magic every witchy Wednesday, and there's a seat at our table for you. So grab a cup of tea, and let's look at the world a little differently. Our circle is open. Let's begin. Welcome back to the Coven's Corner. I'm Kacey.
And I'm Dawn. Our circle is open, and we're so glad you found your way to our corner of the woods today.
Let's start with our vibe check. Dawn, what's sitting on your altar this week?
Candles. Lots of candles.
Care to elaborate?
I mentioned in our last episode that even being young, I had an affinity for lighting candles in my room. My parents were not happy about it, but I was careful, and that it's never gone away. So sometimes I just feel a need to surround myself with candles, and they're not always flames, though most of the time they are. Sometimes they are the little battery-operated tea lights, but I just sometimes feel drawn and need more, and that's how this week has been.
That's great.
Yeah, how about you?
For me, it's been a lot about mind reset this week.
Oh.
I just started hypnotherapy with a licensed hypnotherapist in my town, and it's been all about, creating new neural pathways and really using guided visualization, using hypnosis to really help to retrain my brain on, certain issues. So looking at the mind, looking at how the mind reacts to all the things.
So do you think that everyone can be hypnotized?
I believe if you can make yourself in a relaxed enough state, everyone is open to suggestion. And basically, that's what hypnotherapy does. That's a very, very generalized term. There's a lot more that goes into it, including neuroplasticity and all that. But I truly feel like if you're a person who can allow yourself to enter a relaxed state, you are allowing your mind to be more susceptible to suggestion and more open to changing ways of thinking.
That makes sense. Makes sense. So before we get any further into what we're doing, let's kind of recap some of the things that we talked about last week. So hopefully you were able to watch last week's episode. And if you did and you're here again, welcome back.
Thank you.
So we talked a lot about our origins, how we came to be interested in practicing witchcraft. What led us to witchcraft's door? Was it a book? Was it a movie? And it's kind of been both, actually, books and movies. And it's funny because you had mentioned something about going along the beach and picking up stones and shells, and I still have a collection of stones that I've picked up. Not so much shells, but sea glass. Sea glass has always been something that I collect, and I have it everywhere. And looking at it, you can tell whether it's ready to be taken or whether it still needs more wave action before it gets to where it needs to be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Now, I'll have to show you one that's ready and one that's not ready, because there is specific criteria. What would you like to review from last week?
I think that, I think we talked a lot about where we came from, and I really just hope that our audience, that you have found a way to connect with us, and we want to be as approachable and as, amenable to what you guys are looking for. So I hope that you found something that resonated with you. And if you have suggestions for future topics or things that you'd like to know about, questions you may have, or, any topic that you'd like to explore a little more about, just reach out to us. Let us know. We're always open to, possible new episodes and things that you want to hear about, things that you want to learn more about. So really just hoping to make that connection and hope that you feel connected to us.
Good, that's great. So think about it for a minute. For those of you who are just starting out, we were both there once. So we could kind of give some guidance, give some insight, maybe answer some questions. And for those of you who have been practicing for a long time, we are always up for learning more and different. So we're very open to our viewers, our participants, our Coven members, reaching out to us and let us know what you want to learn about. Let us know the good, the bad, and the ugly. So yeah, reach out, let us know. And thanks for showing up again today. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so we're having what we're calling a kitchen table debate.
So the big question, do you actually need that $50 amethyst or is your brain doing all the heavy lifting?
Very good. All right, so let's talk about the psychology of ritual. So I want to start with something called the trigger effect. So Kacey, you work in the professional world. You know about habit stacking. Does lighting a candle tell your brain that it's time to be magical?
That's a really interesting question. So I think, with being a professional in my day job and being a magical practitioner, not when I'm at work. Sometimes they overlap, but that's only when we're cleansing the space, which we'll talk about that next week. So for me, it's all about the mind shift. Like I was talking about at the beginning of this episode, your mind is such a powerful tool that when you make the decision to practice magic, or when you make the decision to be at work and be in a professional setting, your brain is what's doing all the work, and your brain is what's giving you those pathways to be in whatever mindset is working for you. So yes, I would say lighting a candle can tell your brain, okay, it's time to start magic. So that's definitely, a habit that you have taught yourself over and over again. Once that intention of lighting the candle is the starting point to making magic for whatever that purpose would be.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's almost similar to like muscle memory. Your brain is associating that action with what's coming up next.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Awesome. Okay. I think tools are, like we were talking about, a sensory anchor. So if you choose to use tools, and you don't have to, you have your tools, or you choose to put on garb, all of those things tell your mind that it's time to do XYZ. And I think the more that you do that, the more your mind associates those actions with what's to follow. Mm-hmm. So sometimes when you're working with a tool, you can feel, and especially with crystals for me, you can feel an energy emanating from that crystal. Mm-hmm. So I like to think that instead of wearing down my energy, I can work with the energy of the crystals, and that helps me to sustain longer, mm-hmm. be deeper. I do think that tools have their own energy. Again, like we'll talk about further on, you don't have to have tools because it's all here. You have it all already. But tools can be nice to use sometimes.
Yeah, they can definitely be helpful too. When you use a tool enough times, it imbues itself with your energy, and it can definitely help to focus your energy. Mm-hmm. It can help to direct energy or amplify your own energy. But let's look at the airport security test. If you were stuck in an airport with nothing but your thoughts, could you still cast a protection spell? Of course, because the power doesn't live in your suitcase, it lives in you. So you are the driving force behind the energy of the tool. So you always want to make sure that you're the one in the driver's seat. You're the one who is using that energy for the purpose that you intended. And the tool should be an amplification. It should be a helpful thing and a helpful object for you to get whatever magic you need to get done.
Absolutely. I like that. All right. So let's prove that you don't have to have tools to cast a spell. So tell me about a $0 spell that you could do.
Sure. So we'll be talking more about the moon in a later episode, but I will say there's a very simple ritual that you can do with moon water. So if you put a glass of water under the light of a full moon, that water is going to absorb that full moon energy, and then you can use it for any sort of spell work that you're doing. You can use it to amplify your own energy, and it costs you nothing but a glass of water.
Right.
You can also do the stirring test. So if you want to bring energy into your life, you stir like your morning coffee or, a soup or whatever you're doing. If you stir clockwise, that will bring the energy into your life. If you stir counterclockwise, that releases the energy from your life. So if you're looking to bring stuff in when you're stirring your morning coffee, stir clockwise. If you're looking to release or get rid of something like a bad habit, you would stir counterclockwise. Again, $0 spells that you can use with the stuff that you already have. So.
But drinking coffee is not the bad habit that you want to get rid of, because everybody needs coffee, in my opinion. So I think that those are great examples, and there are so many things that you use for. For instance, I use the bubble a lot, the protection bubble. Whether it's around my car, whether it's around me, whether it's around the people that I love. So you're visualizing your vehicle, yourself, your friend, partner, whoever, being encased in a bubble, and nothing can get through that bubble to get to them. Okay? So it's very heavy on visualization, and you don't need a tool to do it. You just need your mind and your intent. I also use mirrors. I use mirrors a lot. Sometimes you can feel that some foreign type of energy is trying to invade your space. It happens a lot to me when I'm in a crowded place. If I go to the grocery store or I go to a concert or whatever it is. And you can just feel the heaviness. I will visualize a mirror. So instead of being surrounded by a bubble, I'm encased in a mirror with the reflective side out. So anything that's trying to get into me is going to be reflected back to whoever it is that's either carrying something heavy and they just happen to invade your space, or if it's somebody that's actually sending something negative to you, and then it will bounce right back to them. So there's a couple other examples of $0 and it's all on you. And it works. So give it a try.
All right. So I'm going to throw a hot take at you right now.
No.
So.
Okay, I'm ready.
So I'm going to say, is intention everything? Quote unquote, intention is everything. Just a lazy excuse for not doing the actual research on herbs and lore.
Oh, this is a tough one. I think first and foremost is intent. But in my opinion, being the Capricorn that I am, I think it's very important that we research for information about tools that we're using or visualizations that we're doing, kind of to honor the craft. And you want to make sure that if you're using tools that they corroborate with what your intention is. You don't want fighting intentions. So yes, intention for me is first and foremost. But I think we just owe it to the craft to learn about the correspondences and aspects of the things that we're working with. So it's kind of both, I guess.
That's great. Thank you so much. And yeah, I completely agree. I do think that we as witches owe it to our ancestors and owe it to the women that came before us, women and men, and everyone in between, who came before us, to honor what they have done and honor the sacrifices that they have made to bring this information to us in this day and age. We are living in a very lucky time where we do have access to so much information, sometimes too much information, but we are lucky enough that we have access to basically anything we need is at our fingertips. You know, a quick Google search or, reading a book can give you, the information that you need. And a lot of the witches who came before us weren't so lucky. They had to do, the actual,
they did the legwork.
Yeah, they did the legwork. They did the trial and error. I mean, how many people had to try different herbs to find out what was poisonous or toxic, So I definitely...
I'm not volunteering for
that. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you that it's an honoring of the craft to learn about what you want to be using, what you want to be including and incorporating into your spell work and into your rituals and, into your daily life. So I definitely think we landed right in the middle ground on there. So
I think so too.
The tool is the steering wheel, but your intention is definitely the engine that drives that force.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. And I think you mentioned too much information, and I think anybody who's ever gone into a bookstore and gone to the New Age section and has tried to find, for instance, a book of spells. There are so many books of spells out there. I think you have to discern between what feels right for you and what maybe doesn't feel comfortable for you. So just because somebody, and we can get into this later too, just because somebody writes a spell doesn't mean it's the right spell for you. Okay? So again, there's so much information out there everywhere you look. Just be discerning with what sits well with you and what doesn't. Trust your intuition, because usually it doesn't lead you astray. Yeah.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's time for our Consulting the Coven. So today we're reading a first whisper story from our listener, Ani. Let me grab that.
Sure. That's exciting. I love hearing from viewers, so this will be fun.
Okay, so from Ani, she her first whisper into magic. She says, "I think my first interest in magic was probably a combination of a weird dream and a movie. The movie was Practical Magic, which I think we can all
And part 2 is coming out.
Oh, can't wait. But whenever I am stressed, I always dream, and the answers to what I'm trying to figure out are there. I didn't put 2 and 2 together till I was older."
Wow.
Thank you so much for sharing, Ani, and we look forward to more stories like this. So if you want to share your stories with us, please feel free to just send us an email. You can get us at the Coven's Corner Podcast at gmail.com.
Nice. So yeah, thank you, Ani, for that. And I'm going to have to start paying more attention to my dreams. See if I can get some answers there too.
So we really love these firsthand accounts. Yeah. So for next week, our prompt is, what is the one tool you thought you would absolutely need to practice magic when you started, but now you realize that you never use?
I have some of those.
I think
everybody does. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, send us your dusty tool stories to our socials or to our email. And let's talk about the thing. You know what? It's like having a child, and you buy all of that stuff that you think you're going to need, and you don't use it.
And then the kid just wants to play with the box.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's take a minute for the weekly spark. Kacey, would you like to do a visualization for us?
Sure.
Awesome.
All right, friends. So get yourself in a comfortable position. Take a nice deep breath. Close your eyes and visualize a tool that you love. Feel it in your mind. See it in front of you. Now imagine it dissolving into light and being absorbed into your palms. Feel that power becoming part of you. You are the tool. You are the magic. Once you feel that power absorbed within you, take a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, you can open your eyes and take this feeling into your week.
I like that. That was neat. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, so, the last one. Our circle is closed for today, so my parting thought for all of you and for us, the most powerful thing in your room is you.
Great thought. Good thing to remember. So you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Coven's Corner Podcast.
We are still working on our website, but once we get that up and running, we'll let everybody know what the URL is, and then you can visit our website too.
We'll have all of our episodes posted there, as well as pictures, and share our stories as well. So look forward to that. And we'll be back next Witchy Wednesday for Cleansing 101.
That'll be a good one. All right, stay grounded, everyone, and stay magical.
Blessed be. As we close the circle for today, remember that the magic doesn't end with this episode. Keep looking for the magic in the mundane. If you enjoyed today's conversation, we'd love for you to connect with our Coven. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Coven's Corner Podcast and at www.thecovenscorner.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a Witchy Wednesday. We'll see you next time.